Hey traders, TG Watkins. It is April 20th when I'm recording this. I hope you guys are having a good day. And if any of you saw the little teaser that I put out the day before talking about, hey, we're looking for a short, something's coming, we should watch out on the long side. All of that came to fruition today, and we'll have to see if there's going to be a little bit more downside for options expiry, which is tomorrow, which is when you guys will be seeing this. So we'll have to check back and see how this video went, since you guys will be seeing it sometime in the future. We've had some really great trades over the last few weeks, so we've had some pretty solid winners. And if you guys are interested in like how I talk about the markets and how I trade and how I show things, and with the Moxie Indicator, you can come over to simplertrading.com. You can get a $7 trial for 30 days. And if you guys like StockCharts, since you guys are watching over there, we do have the Moxie Indicator on StockCharts.com. So we want to make sure that you guys know that that's there as a plugin as well. All right, so let's kind of dive into here, and we're looking at the SPY. And remember, if you guys saw that little video I put out yesterday before this one, I said, hey, we should be looking probably to the downside. We should be expecting some sort of pullback. We're seeing a lot of divergences, and just things there's not much participation. So yes, something should be happening. And we put on some short positions, and we put on some long positions for inverse ETFs, so inverse leverage ETFs, and they worked out today, so that was nice. It was a great little hedge, and basically called this scenario perfectly during the day. So I was active in the trading room talking to the subscribers and traders, and we got that drop overnight, so there you go, we got that. And then because of the gap, I said, well, we could be getting a gap fill. And sure enough, we did. Now, what does that look like? Well, for me, what that looks like is price running right up into the underside of a downtrending 15-minute 50 with the Moxie Indicator below zero. And that is exactly what I guided for the traders in the Moxie room. I said, hey, yeah, watch for this to come up here, and then let's see if it rolls over, and there you go. Now, I think it was helped along there was some Fed talk today, so they probably said some things that didn't make the market too happy, so be it, but really the charts and technicals were all there anyway. And you can see now we are below the hourly 50, which has not been something that has happened for a while. And you can see that we now have the 8 below the 21. So yes, we are starting to see some weakness. Now, is this the beginning of the end and we're going to go down and bear market and all that kind of stuff? Hard to say. We got to take this one piece at a time. We still have a somewhat bullish situation on the daily chart, so I am looking for a pullback. But after that, I would watch out for a bounce. And really, it's going to be after the bounce that is going to help us determine if there is strength or weakness in this market. But what we could tell is right here, a lot of negative divergence started to form. And then today we got that confirmation with price getting rejected by the underside of the 15-minute 50. Notice how this and this are different. You can see initially price was over the 15-minute 50, and notice that the 15-minute 50 was in an uptrend. Now what do we have? Downtrend, and price is below it. So today we do have a change. We have OPEX tomorrow, which could have some fireworks, so you guys will know after the fact once you see this video, and we'll just have to see how I did on those calls. Now, if we look over to the UVXY, this was another area that was telling me that there was something brewing, something happening, and that we should be watching out. So we actually put 2 trades on UVIX, and that thing's up nicely. We perfectly called this. I think it was so UVIX, we got it right there as our second entry. Perfect. And what we could see is that it was getting a little oversold, right? We have price along that third ATR. You could even see that price was down, the Moxie Indicator was up, so we had some positive divergence coming into this thing. You can see here was your level, here was some more positive divergence on the 15. So we entered yesterday. We got the pop, and then we entered on this pullback, and we got another pop. So it just doesn't get any better than that. It was actually, that was two ideal entries, and now we're on house money, so we can see where this thing goes and if there's going to be a little bit more. You could also see that price was starting to pull away from the daily 8 EMA, which was showing us that this was a little bit oversold and likely to bounce at some point. So there's not necessarily a trend change, which is what I was saying with the SPY too. I'm not saying that we're going down. What I'm saying is that there was a pullback that was likely, and we're going to take it one step at a time as we navigate this pullback. But so far, that UVXY, UVIX trade has been working out quite well. Now, there are a couple other things I can show you. If we look at the Dow, so the Dow, the SPY, the NASDAQ, they are all in various positions. Some of them are worse, like the semis are the weakest. They used to be the strongest, but now they're the weakest. And, that can make sense because strong sectors need to take a break at some point. And I think that's probably what's happening with the semis, that they were the leaders, but since they were so strong, they need to take probably more of a break in order to calm down and catch up. But if we look at this, you can see a really big negative divergence right there on the hourly chart. You can even see that it hit the upper third ATR on the daily chart. So we're seeing these indications that, yes, that these indexes need to pull back and kind of refresh a little bit. Are they going to totally roll over and go down? Not yet. If they are, it's just not going to be yet. So again, we kind of need to take these in phases and pieces, and right now we're only dealing with one piece. The other thing we can see is that for the Dow, price is solidly underneath the hourly 50 with the 8 below the 21. So, again, there is a bit of a trend change happening right here, but it is just a pullback for now. We're going to have to see where it goes, but for now, just a pullback. And then you can see here that, yes, price is definitely underneath the 15-minute 50, and we've been seeing this with the Moxie Indicator. In fact, I used this as a reference for the Moxie traders yesterday and said, look, even the Dow has the 15-minute 50 or the 15-minute Moxie Indicator below zero, even though price is over the 50. That's technically an inverse trampoline move, and price should not be over the 50 if the Moxie Indicator is below zero like that. So that gave us that heads up, and you can see it's starting to kind of hold that over the last couple days. And then if we look at the NASDAQ, and this is something I included in that little snippet video yesterday, this was giving us one of the clearer signals of weakness. You can see there's your Moxie price trigger. In fact, there's your Moxie price trigger to the upside. So that's a pretty nice move, right? So if you're really only traded using just the indicator itself, like look at that, you got 90% of that move. Right? That's pretty great. So anyway, that's your exit signal. And then we're trying to figure out, like, well, do we start shorting this? Well, it was holding up here for quite some time. It is amazing how strong these indexes have been, and so you don't want to jump in too quickly. But today and yesterday were the day, and you can see in through here for the last few days, price has been up over the hourly 50. But notice that the Moxie Indicator has been persisting below zero. Like that's pretty significant. That's pretty serious. That you need to be aware of that. And so it's been chopping, but now you can see we are starting to make some lows in through here. So again, I'm not entirely sure where this is going to go. I don't think we're really going to roll over too much right now. We might later, but we're going to probably work our way down a little bit, then bounce a little bit, and then we'll have to see where we go from there. Now, there's another thing that's been going around, and we come over here, we can talk about, say, Apple and Microsoft and all that, because there's a lot of conversation about participation, breadth, like how widespread are these up moves? And a lot of big conversation has been going on that the markets, the indexes rather, are, not exactly factual or not exactly really displaying what's going on. They're up, but they're up because, for the NASDAQ, Apple and Microsoft are 22 and 20% of that ETF, of that market share, of that index. And then for the SPY, Amazon and Tesla are 23 and 15%. So huge. I mean, those handful of stocks make up the majority of the indexes, which kind of makes it say, well, as long as those stocks are good, okay, the index is going to be up, but maybe a lot of other stocks are not going to be participating. So that's kind of the problem that we've been seeing recently. And one other thing to kind of note as we look at Apple, there is a bit of a line right there. So just be aware that there is a trend line going on right there, and it could be running into some near-term resistance. And if we look even at the hourly chart, it's had a bit of a bumpy ride. It's been doing well, but what I'm starting to notice is this. That is significantly lower. That is pretty much an inverse trampoline move. It only barely got above zero, even though price was up over the hourly 50 for several days. So I look at this as essentially an inverse trampoline move, and you can see price higher, Moxie Indicator significantly lower. So my point is that since Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla are significant portions of the index, well, then what do these individual names tell us that might help us with the rest of the market? And right now I'm looking at Apple and saying, Yeah, this looks like it's probably going to run into some resistance and going to start slowing down and likely to pull back. We can also see that there is a fairly large gap between price and the daily 50. So it might get there. Now, I don't expect it to get right here. Of course, over the course of time, this will move up as price might move down. So it's a moving target, hence the name moving average. All right, so that's Apple. And if we look at Microsoft, this is actually even more substantial. In fact, this looks just like the NASDAQ. Look what I'm talking about. We first have price up and the Moxie indicator down. So that's how we're starting to see that there's some lack of momentum, lack of participation. Like this thing's starting to slow down because we're getting this negative divergence. And then you can see there's the Moxie price trigger telling you that energy and momentum has basically gone negative. And then you can see here price is over the hourly 50, but basically dancing around the hourly 50. But notice that the Moxie indicator is below zero. So just like the NASDAQ, we have what's called an inverse trampoline move. Price should not be over the 50 if the Moxie indicator is below zero. And this is problematic. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to go like straight down. It can fix itself with flagging if it is pretty strong. It can do little pullbacks and ultimately just kind of go sideways. So we don't really know the path. But between that and also between this giant gap between price and the daily 50, we do need to be really, really careful in through here. And I would not be looking long. I would not be looking long on Microsoft. If anything, it needs to take an extended break, and it could actually move down a fair amount. Amazon, it's kind of mixed. Not too much to talk about this one. Maybe we could see that this has been going up and this has been going down, sure. And there's just not much. It's not doing too much. So I would imagine, again, probably going to get weak and probably not going to do too much in the near term. I don't know if it's going to go down a lot, but it just kind of seems to be bumping along the lows and not really doing a whole lot. And then Tesla, they've been having a hard time. Yeah. So what's interesting is I talked about this one maybe 2 weeks ago, showing you here where price has bounced off the daily 50. So bounced off the daily 50, bounced off the daily 50, failed. And so that leaves us again for more weakness, especially from a big name. Okay, so the fact that this is a huge component of the index, it's going to put some pressure on the index, and we're seeing that. And you can see here, look at that, another inverse trampoline move. Price basically tried to move up and over or into a downtrending hourly 50 with the Moxie indicator below zero, and that's an inverse trampoline move. So more downside like that. Now, perhaps if you're looking for upside, there are names that are still going up. It is amazing to see that there are names still going up. Look at this. We caught maybe 12% of NAIL, which is a leverage ETF of the Homebuilders index. And I got to say, I'm amazed that it went up here. I think it happened because of DHI's earnings. But we got out at this double top and that 30 ATR. We were pretty happy with this quick little move, but it went even further. So that's been a pretty good, solid trade for us. And remember that this actually started with a regular trampoline move. So inverse trampoline move, regular trampoline move, they work really, really well using the Moxie indicator. And even another one that I keep watching, I'm like, I don't even know how or why this thing is up, but let me show you why. The Crocs doing well. It finally got back over the daily 50, and look what it did. Not only did it test the daily 50 for confirmation with the 8 over the 21, look at that. It also started with an hourly trampoline move. So again, inverse trampoline moves to the short side, regular trampoline moves to the upside. They are working well. The Moxie indicator is calling them out. And if you guys can spot these, and then right here where price continued to hold the hourly 50, then you can get into great trades like this using the Moxie indicator. So thanks again, guys. I hope you enjoy it. And remember, if you have any questions or want to come over and check out the trading room, we're always running deals, and you can check us out over at simplertrading.com.